I'm Max Sterling. Welcome to Larpgasm. Today I'm going to speak on a topic that I think a lot of LARPers either don't think about or maybe don't know about, maybe a few don't care about, but to me is something important, and that is keeping the actual physical sites where you play clean and looking as good as they can. Now, in the US, I feel like a lot of people use either Boy Scout camps or Girl Scout camps, where maybe use private camps, or you use public state or national game lands or national parks, or you maybe just use, the park right down the street from you to play. So there's a lot of people that play in different areas now with the parlor LARPs that are at set locations, or the big festivals where maybe they rent an entire farm or field or something to hold those. It's a little bit different, but a lot of the basic concepts still apply. And at the heart of it all is just pack it in, pack it out. Which means if you bring a bunch of crap with you, make sure you take it all out with you when you leave, or maybe even more when you leave. So this weekend, what I did for one of the local LARPs I attend is they had a work day. Now it's in cooperation with the Boy Scouts because it's a Boy Scout camp. And what you do is you show up and there's a lot of Boy Scouts and their parents there, and the ranger that runs the park and some other folks there, and they come and they volunteer time to rebuild structures, repair things that are broken, and do a general cleanup of the park to make it look as good as it can. And that's what I was doing, and it's something that happens 2 times a year with this LARP, and we usually go to a different camp each time, and we just help to basically better the areas where we play. Now, I know a lot of games don't participate in that because we have other local LARPs that use the same parks, and I never see their players there. And that's fine. This may be something that they never even considered, but they should, because when you help the parks that you're scheduling your events at, you better believe when it comes time to schedule those events, if there's any sort of scheduling conflicts with other LARPs, you're going to get preference because they understand that you really appreciate the land that you're using. So there's other reasons to consider other than just helping the environment. And some of those are just, immersion. A lot of people like to bitch that, maybe you use 16th century buttons on a 14th century jacket or something. But to me, I'm a lot less concerned about what century those buttons are from if there's a bunch of candy wrappers and fucking cans in the gutter beside me when I'm walking down the path. Or if I'm in the middle of combat, I'm not concerned that this guy's armor may be fiberglass painted to look metal instead of actual metal if a fucking shopping bag hits me in the face while I'm in mid-swing. The thing is, the trash can ruin immersion. You don't want that shit all over your campsite. And I have a feeling that, like with a lot of LARPs or big festivals, it's easy to get a lot of trash accumulated or have unsightly, piles of this stuff all over the place. And it's important to kind of keep that in check, even if it's not your job, even if you're paying other people to do it. If you see something wrong, take care of it. It doesn't take much to pick up a coffee cup or pick up a pop bottle, and throw it in a container. Pop where I'm from, maybe soda where you're from, or who knows, depending. But, a bottle or a can, pick it up, throw it away. And it's really just that simple. Now, myself, I'm kind of freaked out by germs. I don't really like dirt either. However, you wear gloves, you pick that stuff up, it's not a big deal. I wash my hands like 100, maybe 200 times a day, but it is what it is. If something's there and it doesn't look right, you got to take care of it. So I always bring gloves with me, so you can pick that stuff up. You can always carry a little bag with you and throw it in there and then just get rid of it at your earliest convenience. If you're NPCing, super easy to do before, during, and after the event. If you're PCing, try to handle it if you can. If you can't, maybe let one of the PCs know, hey, back on that path, I saw a whiskey bottle. You want to pick that up and toss it. It's that simple. So I think working together, we can keep these sites looking awesome. Now, as far as my game, they also give you experience points if you go, which is, like Goblin or in-game money or an in-game incentive. Depending on the type of game you play, it's basically like experience points. And if you don't want to go to help the environment and help these sites look better, you could always go for just selfish personal reasons. I mean, you go there, you walk around the camp, you know, it's usually a nice day because it's in the spring. You get to find all the cool hiding places, you get to look and see maybe things you never noticed before, find bridges you didn't know were on the site, maybe find awesome trees that would be great for running some sort of scenario, find good places on the battlefield, you know, where you can fall back to. And you can always be doing other things while you're picking up the trash and debris, or working on special projects like building pavilions and things. You can always be looking around for those areas that you can use to your advantage the next time you play the game. And it's great, you know, whether you're NPCing or piecing, because you can find those great ambush points and maybe find other areas of the camp, like I said, that you weren't aware even existed. Because generally speaking, you know, these camps may be 100, 200, 2,000 acres, and you only play, you know, maybe in a 2-acre, 5-acre, or 10-acre allotment of that. And if you walk just a little bit further, maybe there's some sort of awesome, you know, rock structure or some sort of camp that you didn't know that was there, would be fantastic for you to launch raids from or something. And that's sort of why I like going to do this. Also, it's a great time for pictures. If you take your camera with you, see some nature, you see some awesome birds, some deer, I don't know, some animals, snap a picture. Great time if you like to take photos, and you can do this all while you're, you know, helping to better the site. And the ultimate goal is to keep the paths nice and clear, so that way when you're running down that path at night, you know you trimmed the path, so there's no branches sticking out right at eye level to you, pointing at you, you know, because you've trimmed them all back the previous weekend. I trim so many like eye height branches and so many groin and kneecap height stumps that it's unbelievable. But when I run through those camps, I feel pretty confident that I'm not going to stab my eye out running into a tree branch, or I'm not going to trip or run crotch first into a stump, because they've all been ground down, they've all been cut down, taken care of. You know, nature changes rapidly, but, you know, I feel as though if I've been there and did the work, I can be more comfortable using those paths. And you know, I'm sure that everyone else that uses the site appreciates it as well. So you may say, Max, how do I get involved in this? Well, if your game doesn't already have sort of a pre-existing agreement with the groups or the people that own the park or whatever, ask them. I'm pretty sure nobody's going to turn down free labor. So if you go to these Boy Scout, Girl Scout camps you may play at, even if it's a privately owned park, you could ask the person, you know, hey, I'd like to have some people come up, do some cleaning up, do some trimming, or is there anything that you've been planning to do here that maybe we could help you with? And see what they say. I mean, the worst thing to say is no, and you know, you don't do it. You just handle things while you're on the site. The best thing to say is yes, and then you can go sort of have a little bit of say in things that happen. Maybe they're pretty open about things, and they'll even let you carve your own paths through the woods and, you know, do some of your own sort of terraforming to make the game better for what you want to do. You know, maybe you always wanted a secret path from this camp to that camp so that your NPCs could run back and forth. Well, here's your chance to cut it with permission. So, something to think about. Now for the big games where you may rent lots and, you know, they have their own employees and things, you know, you can still offer to volunteer to help. Even if you go up for just, you know, a morning or something and help set things out, I think that they'll appreciate it. And like I said, that all comes back full circle to, even though you may not necessarily get something out of it at that moment in time, you may be able to get preference when scheduling. You may be able to get a discount. You know, maybe, you know, they'll help you out. Maybe at the very least, you know, they'll just be more kind and friendly towards your group when you are there. I know I feel sometimes when I go to the Boy Scout camps that some of the people there probably look at us like, oh, there's those nerds or whatever. But, you know, hey, they're helping out, so they can't be that bad. And I think that that helps to go a long way in the LARP community as well, because there's a lot of young kids there. And when parents are talking about, oh, these are those fucking losers that hit each other with swords in the woods, well, kids may just hear, oh, hitting each other with swords in the woods, that sounds fun. And they're here, and it's somehow, you know, related to what I'm doing now. So guess what? You're getting a future generation of people interested. You know, and not all adults are like that, but maybe, you know, some of those dads are like, oh, wow, I never knew this existed. I used to play D&D in college. I love playing video games. I should come check this out. Because I know our LARPs have gained people in that manner. A lot of times people, they'll just sort of, by hearsay, you know, it's like, oh, what are these guys? They like hit each other with swords and stuff? That actually sounds interesting. So they bring their kids, or they come out, they bring their wives or their husbands or whatever, and they play, and they like it. So there's a little bit of crossover there too. So you're sort of, you know, seeding for future generations, but you also may pull some players that can play now. So there's just so much when you think big picture of basically just being, you know, a good caretaker of the sites that you use. And most of us, I know, probably use the same sites year after year after year. So the more comfortable you can get with the people that own or operate those sites, the better the experience for your overall club or organization is going to be. And as far as an individual or a person, like I said, we LARP, so I assume we all like getting outside, breathing some fresh air, you know, strolling around the woods. And this is a good opportunity to do that, you know, without having to worry about orcs jumping out and ripping your head off. And like I said, just have fun, explore, get to talk to some players that maybe you don't run with in the game, and you can, you know, talk to them about some things that are going on, and maybe even form some bonds out of game. So maybe, you know, next time you actually play the game, the tension is broken, so you may approach their characters even though previously you may not have, because you may have had some sort of preconceived notion of them. I know, like, I run an Assassin's Guild, so people don't like to talk to me at this game, but when I talk to people out of game, you know, and we sort of are just, you know, shooting the shit, you know, in a non-threatening environment, they start to realize, oh, hey, yeah, he runs a guild, but that doesn't mean he's going to murder me immediately when I talk to him. It just means that this guy takes contracts and then his guild executes them. So I can actually have a perfectly normal conversation with him. Just, I gotta hope that nobody has a contract on me, that's all. So much to consider, and I don't want to just ramble on here for too long, but you know, whatever you've thought in the past, whether it's just something you didn't think about, or you don't want to do it, or maybe you have some concerns about it because you don't want to get dirty or messy or whatever, I challenge you to, you know, sort of try to overcome that and look into it. I mean, it takes nothing to send an email or make a phone call, or even the next time your organizers rent the location, whoever you rent it from, whoever you hand that paycheck to, whether it's the ranger, you know, or private citizen, or someone who just owns the venue or whatever, ask them, hey, if we wanted to put together a day this year sometime and bring out maybe like 5, 10, 20 people, could you use the help to organize some stuff or whatever? And see what they say. And it's really just that easy. If you don't care, you know, I wish I could make you care, but, you know, that's entirely up to you. See if your game can give you some sort of incentive to make you want to go, whether it's experience points or in-game money or in-game items, or, you know, some sort of in-game prestige, you know, that will benefit you personally, and maybe you can be motivated by that greed to go do it. If not, I mean, that's fine. You know, it's not for everybody, but I would think that if you play the game, you'd want to at least give it a try. If you are interested, like I said, definitely reach out to the people that you need to. You can look online. There's a ton of websites that make it super easy to volunteer. You can find out when volunteer events are happening and go do it. Now, if you're concerned about doing it, the only thing I could say is, you know, put on some gloves. You've already been to that location. You've already been out in the woods playing the game. So you've already, you know, taken at least that step. But if you're worried about getting dirty or, you know, snakes, things like that, wear gloves, wear long pants, bug spray, you know, whatever you need to do. Find a job that interests you when you get there and that you feel you can do. If you don't want to clean the bathrooms, or you don't want to pressure wash mold off of walls or something, then don't volunteer to pressure wash mold off of walls or clean these disgusting toilets that are there. Ask them if you can take, you know, a saw or a pair of loppers and go walk the paths and clear the paths. Ask them if you can go help build the pavilion if you have any sort of carpentry skills. Ask them if you can just sweep out the taverns or sweep out the cabins and maybe help, you know, respring the beds or something. There's, you know, a lot of really filthy, dirty work that you can do, but there's also some cleaner work that you can do as well. Just knocking down cobwebs, cleaning off fans, cleaning the kitchens and things like that. So really, there's stuff for everyone there to do. And even if you know, are afraid, you know, to get dirty or something, you know, there's something you can find that's probably acceptable. And if there isn't, maybe you can offer to just supervise. You know, There need to be people to delegate the work out also. I know some of these camps, they have machinery that you can run. I mean, it's always fun to, run a front loader or something. If you're able to do that, you mow the grass, do some weed eating. If there's a lake or something, maybe, skim it for algae. Like I said, millions of things to do at these camps. You just need to ask and make it happen. So I hope you found this video interesting. If you already do this type of thing, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. If you don't do this type of thing, you can comment as well. Or if you don't feel it has any value, I mean, I'd like to know why, because like I said, I mentioned a lot of points here, and I think that it has tremendous value across the board, from the organization all the way down to just you personally, out of game and in game. So I hope that maybe got some people thinking, and at the very least, the next time you're walking through and you're chewing a piece of gum or you're finishing your drink, hopefully you don't just throw it on the ground and make a mess. Hopefully you remember this video and you take it and you pack it out, throw it in the trash, put it where it's supposed to be. So please like, subscribe, and comment as always. Please share this video with all your friends. Let them know that I'm over here making awesome LARP content weekly. And as always, adventure on.